What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be ranking the UFC's pound for pound list, their best wins in the UFC. So I've been doing a lot of videos ranking guys' top 5 wins in the UFC. So this is going to be the best wins that the pound for pound list has. So this is extremely difficult because a lot of these guys have, a bunch of good wins. They're the best fighters in the UFC, so obviously all have amazing wins. It's just very hard to narrow it down to one, but this is going to be my best try at getting their best win and ranking it. So even if their wins are in the C or D tier, obviously they're still amazing wins. They just might not have, the legacy or the dominance or anything compared to some of them in the higher tiers, but still, great wins over great guys in the UFC. And obviously, these are the 15 best fighters in the UFC right now. So starting off, number 15, Carlos Ulberg. His win against Yuri is going to go in the B tier. Obviously, we all saw what happened in this fight. Ulberg tore his ACL in that first round and was able to, hop around still and not, get finished and find that KO with the check left hook in the first round still. So, great win. Obviously, Yuri, his only loss in the UFC are to Alex. He's, basically KO'd everybody else in the light heavyweight division. And he is a former champion. So, great win. Some people, including Yuri, said he was showing mercy because he tore his ACL. Not sure if that's true or not. But still, great win. KO over Yuri, great win. You're in the tier with only Alex Pereira to ever beat him. So overall, great win from Alberg. And then number 14, we have Magomed Ankalaev. His win over Alex in the first fight is going to go in the A tier. Obviously, Alex is one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time. He was on a 4-fight KO streak, undefeated at light heavyweight. And Big Ank was the first guy to beat him in the UFC since Israel Adesanya. Great win. Obviously, it was not super dominant. It was still a close fight, but I think Big Ank clearly won that fight. Mainly a striking battle. A lot of people thought he was going to go in, try to get all the takedowns. But if you watch most of his fights, none of them really are super wrestling heavy. He is mainly a striker, so going out there basically outstriking Alex. Great win, obviously. Some people said Alex was injured. He was sick during that fight. You're never really sure, but still, great win over one of the greatest to ever do it. And then number 13, we got Arman. His best win over Charles is going to go in the C tier. Obviously, extremely close fight. Charles almost submitted him in that first round. The guillotine choke, and then also a Darce choke at the end of the third round, but that round was ending, so not super in danger, but still very close fight, split decision, so not super dominant, but still Arman's best win in the UFC over, the former champion and one of the greatest lightweights ever, Charles, who has since come back. He lost to Ilya, but he has wins over Gamrot, Max, Dariush, all those wins since his loss from Islam also. So, great win. Not a title fight. It wasn't super dominant, so that's why it's a little lower in the C tier. But overall, still a great win from Arman. And then number 12, we have DDP. His win against Israel Adesanya is going to go in the B tier. So this was after Izzy's loss to Sean Strickland, but DDP was able to be the first one to submit Israel Adesanya. Um, you know, Super impressive. The reason it's not a little higher is because obviously Izzy was coming off that loss to Sean Strickland, even though he had his best win basically of all time against Alex Pereira the fight before that. This was kind of, the downfall of Israel Adesanya, him going on to lose to Mavov and Joe Pyfer and that. Still great win and great title defense from DDP and, super impressive being the only guy to ever submit Israel Adesanya. So then number 11, we have Charles Oliveira. His win against Dustin Poirier is going to go in the B tier. Super hard guy to pick from. I mean, he has so many great wins. Obviously, this last win against Max Holloway, definitely a contender. Wins against Gaethje, Dariush, all of those. But I think Dustin Poirier is his best win. He was an underdog to Poirier, and Poirier was coming back from back-to-back wins against Conor McGregor and a win against Dan Hooker in that war. Um, so, he was still in his prime, obviously. He only had one loss since 2016, and that was only against Khabib. Otherwise, he beat almost everyone else in the division. Charles basically, first round they went back to back, kind of a normal Charles fight. Both dropped each other. But that second round, Charles dominated him, almost a 10-8. And then he was able to find the sub in that third round. So, great win, obviously. Super hard to pick from. And, Charles, a guy with great resume, tons of good wins. But I think his win against Dustin is definitely one of his best and probably his best. So then we're going to go Joshua Van in number 10. So his win against Royval is going to go in the D tier. Obviously, you could say his win against Pantoja also. But I think, some people don't count it. Obviously, it is a win, but it wasn't, a win that we'd really want to rank since it was due to injury in the first, 30 seconds. If he went out and dominated Pantoja, everything like that, that's different. But I think for this, we're going to put his win against Royval because that's really what, put him on the map, got him the title shot. One of the best fights of 2025 and one of my favorite flyweight fights ever. I remember watching this. It was a just insane fight. Great performance from Van. Going 1-1 going into the third, and he just took over and dominated that third round. So, great win. Obviously, Royval does not have the star power or wasn't a champion. So, obviously, this can't be higher, but he really has only lost to top guys in the division. So, still a great win from Van. Obviously, the, significance and everything not as high as some of these other guys. So, then going on, Pantoja, his win against Moreno is going to go in the B tier. So this was one of the greatest title fights also. Not, a super dominating fight, super close. Extremely close fight. I think Pantoja won. But Moreno was basically considered the current flyweight GOAT, obviously not over Mighty Mouse, but his only loss was to Figgy. They had their 4 different fights, but Pantoja ended up winning the last one and then winning that quad trilogy, I guess you could call it. Pantoja's had a lot of dominating performance, but most people consider Moreno one of the best ever after that quad trilogy. And I think Pantoja going out there, he was the big underdog. Or not super big, but I think he was plus 170, something like that. Great performance, great win. And then he's gone on and beaten everybody. He had his loss against Joshua Van due to injury. Hopefully he can come back, but, this is still one of his greatest wins ever against, prime Moreno, and he was considered one of the best ever then. Going on to number 8, we have Merab. His win against Umar, we're going to put in the C tier. You could put his, he has wins against Sean O'Malley, against Peter Yan, but I think Umar's definitely his greatest win. He was a big underdog for this fight. Umar was coming in undefeated. He had just beaten Corey Sandhagen pretty easily over 5 rounds. And he was beating Merab, and Merab just, turned it up. Those later rounds, he was able to get back and secure the win. And really, Umar, I would pick him to beat every single person at bantamweight right now. Him against Yan, super close fight. That would be a great fight to watch. Him versus Merab, also a great fight to watch. I just think, he beats basically everyone else. The reason it's in the C tier, though, he obviously wasn't a champ ever. So the significance not as high, but still amazing win against a guy who basically beats everyone else besides him and Yan at bantamweight. So then number 7, we got Tom Aspinall. I think his best win's got to be Pavlovich. Pavlovich was the boogeyman of this division coming in to this fight, both on short notice, but still, he was knocking everyone out in the first round, and it was an extremely close fight. Tom was coming off. He had that injury against Curtis Blades, got the fight after that. I can't remember who he beat, but super close fight, but he was able to go out there and knock him out in 1 round. Pretty impressive performance. But, again, Pavlovich, not the level of significance of some of these other guys. not a champ. He went out, he got, destroyed, beat up against Volkov after this. Hoping it looks like he's kind of back out in the upswing of things. He hasn't really KO'd too many people though, so um, you never really know. Still good win, obviously, but not the level of significance as the rest of them. Then to number 6, Peter Yan. His win against Merab in that second fight is going to go in the A tier. So, I mean, just one of the greatest performances in a title fight ever. Merab, after that Corey Sandhagen fight, was considered the bantamweight GOAT. I think it's still very close right now. That third fight between him and Jan's probably going to decide who is the bantamweight GOAT. The only reason this is not in the S tier is this was Merab's 4th title defense in 1 year, which is just a crazy feat. And thank God we had a champion like that who wanted to try to break records and fight so much. So I think if there was a little more of a layoff, not like super close together, it would be an S tier, but still one of the greatest title fights ever. I mean, against a guy that had already 50-45'd him, and he was able to come back and, completely destroy the bantamweight GOAT who was considered. So overall, amazing fight, amazing performance. And then number 5, we have Alex Pereira. His fight in the second fight against Big Ank, his knockout's going to go in the S tier, first S tier today. I mean, what can you say? Big Ank, he was on a 14-fight unbeaten streak. He had just beaten Alex in the fight before that. Pretty clear win. Wasn't, insanely dominant. Still a close fight, but still, Big Ank pretty much clearly won that. Alex comes into this fight. He just pushes forward, gets a knockout in the first minute and 30 seconds. One of the, most lopsided fight and honestly embarrassing championship performances ever. But, Alex, I mean, beating a guy that had just beaten him, 14-fight unbeaten streak going in, just KOing him, one of the most dominant performances ever. It deserves to be in the S tier. I mean, this fight is just unreal and amazing performance from Alex. So then Volk, so many good performances, one of the greatest champions ever, featherweight GOAT. His fight against Max Holloway, the third fight, we're going to be putting in the A tier. We're going to say this is his best win ever. So obviously, it's really hard between this and Max Holloway 1. The reason we're going to put the third fight in the A tier is because the first 2 fights were very close. I mean, in the first fight, you had this one scorecard 50-45, but then the rest 48-47, which I think is a little more fair in that fight. And then the second fight, obviously, split decision. A lot of people think Max won that. It is an extremely close fight, and that's what basically earned him a third fight. Obviously, he got more wins between there, but if that second fight wasn't so close, he probably wouldn't have fought again. So in this third fight, Volk goes out there, 50-45s him on all 3 scores. One of the best performances against, Max Holloway, one of the greatest featherweight, basically the second best featherweight ever, and one of the greatest UFC fighters ever. Goes in there, shuts down all of the claims that he got robbed in the second fight, anything like that. Secures the trilogy victory and secures himself as the greatest featherweight of all time. Complete domination, 50-45. Amazing performance. Number 3, we have Khamzat Chimaev. We're going to put his win against DDP in the B tier. Obviously, DDP, he was a multiple-time champion. A few different title defenses. A lot of people think that he lost the first fight against Sean Strickland. I kind of agree with that too, but, he still won, got that victory, and then he beat Israel Adesanya and then Sean Strickland again. And, Khamzat was able to go out there, completely destroy him. Domination over 25 rounds. Didn't do as much damage or submission or anything, but still one of a, great title performance, complete domination. So that's going to go in the B tier. So then next we have Ilia Topuria. His win against Volk is going to go in the S tier. Obviously, he became the first person ever to knock out and to beat Volk at featherweight. Became the first person ever. Volk beat every single person, featherweight GOAT. Ilia was able to go out there, KO him in the second round. Amazing performance. One of the greatest wins ever against, one of the best fighters of all time. a lot of people say, it shouldn't count as much against Volk because he did fight um, Islam a few months before that, but still, no one's ever been able to do this to Volk at featherweight. One of the greatest performances ever. And then coming in at number one, we're going to put Islam's fight against Volk in the S tier as well. Obviously, was up a weight class at lightweight. Sorry, um, but he became the first person to ever beat Volk in the UFC. I mean, Volk unbeaten for 10 years. Islam goes into enemy territory into Australia. This was one of Islam's quickest. It is Islam's quickest title fight turnaround of all time as well. Able to go in there. People say that Volk got robbed or whatever. I mean, we've watched the fight how many times? Unfortunately, no, he did not get robbed in that fight. I know the Australian fans, they were very mad. I thought that too. I mean, everyone was saying that, but no, I mean, pretty clearly 3-2, arguably 4-1 for Islam. One of the greatest performances of all time. Just has to go in the S tier. I mean, obviously, Volk, one of the greatest ever. I mean, Ilya's fight over him obviously gets him in the S tier just because how good Volk is, unbeaten for over 10 years. It's just an amazing performance. Go out there, outclass guy. One of the greatest fights of all time in terms of pure MMA skill. It's just amazing performance. One of the greatest wins of all time. So, guys, this here is the list from the pound for pound top 15, their best wins in the UFC. Let me know what you guys think about this. If one of these should be higher, lower, anything like that. And we're going to keep making the top 5 best wins in the UFC tiers. That's been really fun. I mean, very hard. Some of these guys, such good wins. It's hard to pick just their very best win because some of their resumes are so good and very close. But in my opinion, these are their best wins in the UFC. Let me know what you guys think. We'll see you later.